Hi guys, here are some essential do's and don'ts for beginners in sewing. Now, I really want to take my time to tell you the do's and don'ts if you're a beginner in sewing. Now, number one is the do's. Is number one, you must start with simple projects. Now, you must choose beginner-friendly patterns like pillowcases, basic skirts, or shorts, to build your skill gradually. Don't go and take ambiguous styles, suits, or hard styles of senator. Now, number two is read the sewing machine manual. Familiarize yourself with your sewing machine, understand how to thread it and change the settings. Invest in good tools. Number three, quality fabric, scissors, seam rippers, measuring tapes, pins. We make your work easier. Number four is use the right needle and thread. Ensure you are using the appropriate needle for your machine and thread for your fabric, to avoid damaging the fabric or the material. Number five is practice on scrap fabric. You test your stitches and tension settings on scrap fabric before starting your main project so that in case the machine is not good, you'll be able to set it properly. Then number six is press your seams as you sew. Ironing seams as you go will help give your project a professional finishing. Number seven is measure twice and cut once. This is double checking all your measurements before cutting your fabric. Do you understand? Number eight is pin your pieces. Now use pins to hold your fabric in place before sewing to avoid mistakes and misalignments. Then for the don'ts, you have number one to be, don't rush your work, take your time. Rushing can lead to mistakes like uneven seams or cutting errors. Number now, don't skip to test a good fabric. If you have fabrics, you must make sure that the fabric does not bleed, so that it doesn't, stain designs that you might want to combine fabrics on. There are a lot of ways you can, want to combine fabric, let's say white and red, and if you don't test the fabric, it will spill over, it will bleed means dropping color, and it will kill or stain the other color, right? So make sure you check the fabrics before combination in colors combination, right? This will help you to avoid some disaster that will appear at the end of the sewing proper. Then number three is don't use cheap thread. Make sure you go for quality threads, because low quality ones break easily and can ruin your stitching. Now, number four is, in the course of your sewing, in some patterns or in some pieces, you might pin them together. So don't sew on top of the pin. Remove your pins as you sew to avoid breaking the needle or damaging your machine. Because when this machine, especially the industrial direct drive, hits the needle by force, it sends a warning signal to the IC or the panel of the machine, which can result to an error that might cost you a lot of money to fix. So now don't sew on top of your pins, remove your pins as you sew. Then number five is don't neglect machine maintenance. So this part is where most people fall victim or fall what's it called, like guilty of, because most people, all they know is just jump on the machine, they start sewing. If it's not good, they will run away from the machine. No, it's not meant to be so. You are meant to be friends with your machine, with your tools. You're meant to understand or know how these tools works. You're meant to know when your scissors is not giving you a sharp cut. You're meant to know when your machine is not giving you a nice sound or nice noise. When you hear an unfamiliar noise on your machine, you need to stop, check if this is the oil, if the shuttle was properly fixed, if the tension is loose, what is the why, know the reason it is giving you a different sound, right? Because if you don't do this, you end up having this issues, and you will always be looking for a ready-made fixed machine, and which will delay you in some of the processes, because the time you will take a machine to a repairer to repair, or before you will invite a mechanic to your place, it might take you a day or some hours. So but if you know how to do this, you can use your hand as well to fix it, do the necessary maintenance culture before you can proceed. Use your regularly clean your machine with oil, and keep it in good working order. Do you understand? The number six is don't pull the fabric. Now in sewing, I have seen most people pull the fabric as they are sewing. Yes, in as much as the machine might not be good to push the fabric by itself, you are not meant to add extra push to it. Now you need to fix the machine. The machine teeth is what causes that. So if the machine teeth is good enough and it catches the fabric, it will pull it at its own pace. But when you apply more pressure to pull it, you tend to have what they call a running thread. The threads will not be tightly fixed on the fabric. It will be like a loose threading on the fabric, and which we cut at ease. So don't pull your fabric. Let the machine guide the fabric as you sew, to avoid uneven stitches or breaking the needle. Because by the time you also pull the needle might be at the needle hole, and when you pull it, it will hit on the hole and it breaks the needle as well. So number seven is don't start with expensive fabrics. Now, expensive fabrics like cashmere, 180, 220, and 300, and some other Australian brocade that are expensive. Now, it's not advisable that you start with, what's it called, expensive fabrics. You're meant to start with cheap and affordable fabrics that you can afford. In case you damage the fabric, you will not feel so pained. You will be able to endure and go through it again. So if you want to learn, or as you're learning, don't spend much money on expensive fabrics. Only buy the fabrics you can afford, and when it gets damaged, you won't feel the pain, right? So use cheap fabrics to start. you know until you build your confidence and skill, you can now get the expensive fabrics for your leisure and for your sewing pleasure. Now, don't ignore the grain line. When cutting fabrics, always follow the grain line as indicated in the pattern to ensure that the fabric drapes properly. Now, when you have listened to these tools, it will help you get started smoothly and avoid some common mistakes in sewing. And these mistakes in sewing can be avoided by following some of these directives I have shown you. And I think for now, this is all I can say. So if you find this video interesting, please kindly give me a thumbs up, like this video, comment, share, invite your friends to follow us on this platform. Thank you guys for watching. See you in my next video. Bye bye for now.